The OECD, at the request of the French government, we did an analysis on what will be the economic consequences of a major flood like the one of 1910, and we found out that the direct damages of a similar flood could be between 3 to 30 billion euro. As you can see, these walls, Paris itself is quite protected. We still have 3 meters before the water really goes over these walls. Now, it's not the case at the scale of the whole metropolitan area, and in Parisian suburbs there are some neighborhoods that are already flooded, and one aspect also of the flood that is quite important is that it lasts a long time. The water goes up very slowly and it will go down very slowly too. So this means that there are currently people with their house flooded with 1 meter of water, and it will last at least 2 weeks. The economic impacts are several kinds. You can have the housing that are damaged, what is inside the housing, this is for the citizens, but you can also have businesses, buildings, assets and stocks that can be affected as well. In 2016 there was a flood of a similar intensity which costed 1 billion euro. This is linked to history. I mean, floods, rivers have always been areas where people would like to live close by for transportation purposes, for instance, or because of the agrarian land that rivers make more fertile. So there are settlements along rivers everywhere in the world and for centuries. Now the key question today is, do we build cities that are able to withstand a major shock like a massive flood as the one we can see today? I think that there are nowadays a lot of solutions to build differently, to build what we will call resilient neighborhoods, which are neighborhoods which could continue to function with electricity, with transportation, and people will be able to live with the flood. This is a new model, and it is true that Paris, and most importantly its suburbs, have not been built with this state in mind over the last decades. But for the years to come, there are a lot of opportunities. As you know, Paris will host the Olympic Games in 2024. There is also a major project of urban regeneration, the Grand Paris, and many new neighborhoods are located in flood-prone areas. This is an opportunity to build differently, to innovate on this topic of resilience, and to develop new solutions that will be very important for Paris, but for the whole world as well, because with climate change everybody is confronted with the same questions. What is sure is that with the 2016 flood and with this flood in 2018, now people are very much aware of this major risk for Paris and for France. It was not the case before, because the Seine had not been in flood for 60 years before 2016, and there was a sort of a loss of memory of this risk. So the first result of the 2016 and the current floods is that people are aware, authorities, citizens, businesses, local authorities at the national level, everybody nowadays is ready to act to reduce this risk. There's been a lot of improvement in terms of governance, because as in any other metropolitan area, there are a lot of different authorities that can contribute to reducing this risk, but they need to act together. It's not been the case in the past, but now they are really working together. There is a common strategy, and it's time for action to really concretely reduce the risk. And the main message of the OECD report is that it's time to shift gear and to increase funding for risk prevention of Paris metropolitan area. It is true that when we compare Paris metropolitan area with other major OECD cities, we notice that Paris is less protected. Paris itself is quite protected, but the suburbs are less protected than in other cities like Frankfurt, Oslo, London, Tokyo, for instance. And now, as I said, it is time for action to really improve the level of protection of the whole metropolitan area, to think about equity, because the people living in the suburbs are less protected than the ones living in a Paris city center. So it could be a good time to harmonize the level of protection for all the citizens of the metropolitan area. A key message of the OECD high-level risk forum is that everybody has a role to play to manage risks. Of course, the national government has a key responsibility, because this is a national risk which could have severe economic consequences at the national level. It is also in charge of protecting the citizens, but the local authorities have a key role to play for urban regulation and to finance infrastructures. The businesses themselves, they need to prepare to such events. They need to think about their business continuity. What will they do if an event like the one of 1910 will happen, far higher than today? And the citizens themselves, I think the current flood is a good opportunity for citizens to think what they can do to protect their houses, to eventually think of a backup plan, where to go if my house is flooded during 1 month. Everybody has to be responsible to altogether reduce the risks.